Welcome back, listeners, to the Roanoke Presents From Print to Podcast. I'm your host, Liz Long, and today we're talking with a local business owner who fills her space with personality, inspiration, and incredibly thoughtfully curated finds. We're also helping her to celebrate a milestone. We're on site today with Rachelle Walker of WyndRose Boutique, as the boutique marks 5 years in business, a really big accomplishment in retail and something we're celebrating here in our region. From curating styles that make women feel confident to creating a welcoming shopping experience and building a loyal local following, WyndRose has become a recognizable name for treasure lovers across the area. We're talking about what she's learned over the last 5 years, how the boutique has evolved, favorite moments along the way, and maybe even what's next for the business. So, Rachelle, welcome back to the podcast.
Hey, thank you so much, and thank you for that introduction. That was so very sweet.
Oh, I'm so glad. Well, you're everything. You're a community member, you're a small business owner, you're a busy mom. Like, I can't wait to talk about all these things that make you the perfect person to run such an incredible place in downtown Roanoke. But I want to start at the beginning. So, and again, listeners, just a real quick thing, we are on site. So I'd love for you to check out our YouTube video. I'm going to have some little videos of the amazing pieces in here. I'm going to get real distracted during the entire podcast looking at just this one piece of gorgeous artwork in our sit down right now, which you'll see. It's incredible.
Yes.
And then I'm going to go around and shoot all the other stuff, and then you're going to have to kick me out. So that's the deal. But I'm hoping you can keep me on task. So we'll see what we can do. But so let's start at the beginning. I want to talk about what really inspired you to open WyndRose Boutique. What do you remember most from those early days?
Oh my gosh.
Besides lack of sleep, probably.
Yes, of course. No, those early days. I mean, I think small business ownership was always something I wanted to do. I come from a family of entrepreneurs. For a long time, I worked for several other small businesses and nonprofits, early in my career. So that's just what I was drawn to. And it was always just finding the right time and the right moment. Now, most people would have probably said March of 2021 was not the right time and right moment. There was only a few things going on. We technically took over the space in November of 2020.
Wow.
Yeah, and just start some of our build out and things, which didn't require much, but we needed to freshen up the space, revitalize some things. So yeah, I remember a long, large, empty box of a storefront, and wondering if anyone was going to come back out and shop in person anymore.
Right.
Those early days of always wearing the mask and shoppers with the mask. And I look back to some of our opening photos and cannot believe that was only 5-6 years ago. And I'm like, oh my gosh, all of our promos we're all masked up and all covered up. And I was like, I can't recall how we lived our lives
Another lifetime ago, really.
It does. It feels like so many different lifetimes ago. But yeah, it was a brief 5 years.
I like the description.
Yeah,
it's a brief 5 years.
Just a brief 5 years
ago.
Life looked so different. And so it was amazing. But really, it was timing. This beautiful space was open and available, listed through some people I've known, for a long time through high school here. So when we moved back to the area and it was here and it was ready, and I was trying to figure out what to do now as a new mom to, a little over a 1-year-old, and again in COVID, and saying, what do I want to do? It finally felt like the right time to take this risk and try to carve out my dream.
Well, those are pretty wise words to live by, because you did it in the face of a lot of challenge, right? And I think that's pretty inspiring for people who think, could I do this? Well, yes. And that's not to say it's not without a lot of sacrifice and then time and energy, but you've done it. Like, every piece of your store you could tell there's thought behind it. Every place that you've pieced on something, on the walls and the corners, on the tables, like, you have clearly put so much thought into everything in your store. Yeah. So, and thinking about how it maybe has evolved, like, what have you learned in 5 years? And that, I know that could be like a long list. But.
Yeah. What we've learned in 5 years, it's amazing. So we've learned that we're actually horrible at measuring. YouTube. Do you measure the women how I measure like that on Instagram? Yeah,
okay,
I think
cool.
I think so.
Here's my wingspan. That's what that means.
Yeah, we see a beautiful piece or we see a stunning piece of artwork and we go, yes, absolutely. And then I get here and I go, that is much larger, or that is a lot smaller than I thought it was going to be. Or our space is finite, and our vision and dreams are not.
Right.
So we have, in the last 5 years, figured out a way to work every nook and cranny of this store. If you've ever shopped with us, or as you can probably see now, or on the YouTube channel, we have figured out a way to hang everything. We have Indonesian vine balls, hanging off the ceiling. I've got, these beautiful pieces of art that are up. Every corner, we hang our accessories for women, or our children's corner, or these level arms literally coming out of the corners of walls.
There's no wasted space.
There is not. So, that we have learned how to make that work. We have almost always said yes first and figured it out in the background. I've learned that maybe I shouldn't do that. It doesn't mean I still don't do it.
Sure.
One of my most interesting memories is learning that shipping art is easier if it's not over 36 by 36. We had a beautiful piece of art for a client, and we made it work, but it was a 48 by 48 that needed to go to Florida. And so, we said yes and worked all that out, and then said, it's harder to ship a 48 by 48 or a 36 by 36.
And you don't know what you don't know.
No, absolutely. And any of the long-standing galleries, that have been in Roanoke, are probably sitting there going, duh, what are these girls doing? And I'm like, we were
it took
learning
them a first time
and making
shipment
it
too.
work.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm
think on your feet.
Yeah, we are an eclectic mix of things, and we have had to learn how to ship a 2-foot metal rooster. Our Isla gourds, which if anyone's ever seen them, are these beautiful woven gourd baskets. They're not heavy, but that was going in a 3x3 box. We've shipped art, planes, grounds, movers and vans. We've figured it out over the years. And I still usually say yes. I think once I was like, no, I've been down this road.
Because it was the size of an entire wall.
Yes, exactly. I was like, wait, no.
Let me think about that one. Yeah. No, that's good. Well, and 5 years, that's a huge milestone, I think, maybe especially in retail, because some things are so quick to move. Yeah. We're talking about, you and I were talking before we sat down about how we're having this conversation in mid-May, and you're already thinking about Christmas. I mean, that's just the nature of the beast when it comes to retail and publishing, by the way, in your magazines. Yes. Think about that. But when you look back at the 5 years so far, what are you most proud of?
Oh, that is a fantastic question.
It's a very big question, I know. But
I mean, most proud of, first and foremost, I think the obvious of just having our doors open. Being here for 5 years. But I'd be, remiss without saying what I'm most proud of is the team that we've had in doing it. And, I could not have done any of this without my longstanding manager, Abigail, who's been with me from the beginning. And that's hard in retail too. It's people ask me how I do it. How do you have a business? How do you, mom, all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, the team. A business takes a village just like motherhood does. And sometimes that looks different, and it's, friends, and it's help, and it's the support, but it is so true with business as well. So it's really been, her and I in the last 5 years, spearheading this, but we have had a mix of fantastic team, over the years, in and out the door. And again, I know that's so hard in retail. I worked retail in high school and college and all those things. And people come and go, but overall we've been incredibly lucky. I've had part-time people who've been with me over 2 years at 10 to 15 hours a week. And that's not easy to find. So we've been truly lucky in that aspect to have so many people ready to lend a hand, whether that's work with us, volunteer a little bit of time and truck space to make a delivery. It's just so, I think that community aspect and bringing people in is probably actually what I'm most proud of.
I love that. And it, for anybody who wants to do a job well done, it does include a great team. I mean, I think whether it's one person or 50, you have to make sure that you have people who are willing to work really hard and have your back. And it sounds like you've really had a great team with you for 5 years.
We've been so lucky in that aspect.
That's awesome. And so, people often think about the fun sides of business ownership, especially in boutique and retail. They see all the great stuff on social media, whether it's, the price of the things that you're selling or just having a good time, learning how to set up a window, things like that. Those are all little details. But, what do you think is something that surprised you that people might not see on social media, or an assumption that they might make?
It's a really great question. Wait, I think I've said that after every one of your questions.
Well, that's just good for me. You hear that,
right?
Ross?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, no. Oh my gosh, it's funny. There's all the pieces that people don't, or you do think about, or you should, but you don't realize how often you are living and working in your business without working on your business. I think that gets tough sometimes. That's the part, you don't see, whether it's checking the books or running your taxes or, doing just how long some of the social media and all that kind of stuff takes. It's a whole separate job. And we do it all in-house. I mean, you know, we've occasionally partnered with some people around the town and things like that. But yeah, I was stunned at trying to figure out how long putting together like a 10-second reel takes.
Oh my gosh, it takes like an hour.
Ridiculous.
Guys.
It's a whole other job. And
Do you
people
know how
are
much
like,
work requires
oh,
a
how
reel?
cute is that? I'm like, oh, that took me all day.
Right.
And
especially if you're matching that music to the beats.
Yes. Why is that hard?
Why is that so
I
hard?
still haven't figured it out.
But
I don't think I'm that old, and the technology has bypassed me, and so that part, it just, you know, so it's those aspects that I think, you know, surprise people, and we're trying to get that reach, you know, and people are like, oh, just update your website, just update social, just do that, and I'm like, well,
that'll take weeks,
all day. We do it, like I said, all in house, and then it's so noisy on the internet. You know, we're trying to get our reach out there, you know, not only locally but, you know, more, and I think when you realize how hard you have to do to, like, what are those jokes? Like, didn't realize at like almost 40, I have to like create reels like a 16-year-old or something. And I'm out here like, yes, exactly. I wasn't ready for that part, but here we are.
Well, and
just
the glamorization of owning a business, right? You get to go to events and network and meet people and be part of a community, which are all excellent benefits.
Right.
But they probably don't see you at 2 a.m. struggling over your books or making sure that, you know, your staff's getting paid appropriately and all those kinds of things. Like, and those are things that will keep a small business owner up at night.
All the time. Yeah. Those are the things, just like you said, do it all the time. Or, you know, people love to ask us like, oh, how fun is it to get to go to market? And it is fun. We love to go to find new treasures and things. And it's fun because it's a different day, but like those are long, hard, you know, 10-hour days on your feet every day.
You're on.
It is on all the time, you know, so I'm like, no, that's a really long week for us, but we do it because we love to bring in new things for everyone.
When do you go to market, out of curiosity?
It kind of depends. They're roughly 6 months apart, give or take, like spring markets, fall markets, a couple sprinkles in the winter.
Started being shoved Christmas and Valentine's Day already.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We were looking at that. This past February show, people had holiday out, and I was like, my face hurts.
We just got done with that.
I was like, nope, I'm going to shut that down for a minute.
That's fair. I need to think about summer for like 10 minutes at least.
Exactly. I was like, give me a second.
Well, you know, in your store, you're going to find a little bit of everything. So whether it's, you know, fashion, home decor, art, all these beautiful things that we're seeing, and especially in the face of trends, because trends are forever changing. They can change in an instant, quite frankly, especially, like you said, the internet's got a lot of noise. So things are very rapid.
For sure.
But, you know, how are you staying current while also making sure that you're offering things that your customers genuinely love? And I think that's important in the face of trend, but also this long lasting, like this longevity. I want this piece in my house forever, right?
Yes,
like how do you figure out how to do that?
It's an ongoing, you know, that's an ongoing fun challenge of it. And what I love to tell our customers is, you know, when you find a piece that you love, it doesn't matter if it's $10 or $10,000, if it's a small tabletop piece or the large artwork. You find something that speaks to you and you love, and we can create the rest of the room around it.
Oh, I like that.
You want that piece or something that maybe is going to last, that isn't necessarily going to be, the fastest trend-setting, you know, sofa to go out and do, but something that you know that you love and you don't care if it's maybe on trend or something right now, because then we can work the rest of the things, like I said, just around it. So
I love that.
Yeah, that's what matters. And in general with us, if you've shopped with us or, you know, again, can see here, we're not afraid of color.
Which I love, by the way, because in the grayish of the world, like, it's just a lot. And that's okay.
Yes.
It has its place.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was a nice long trend for a while, really. And we're really starting to see that color come back. I think people are looking for that little bit of like joy. You've seen whimsy thrown around now for a whole season and cycle, that grandma cottage core coming back of like.
Interesting.
And, you know, I like to say what we do is something that's thoughtfully collected, not necessarily decorated.
Oh, so, that's an interesting approach to it.
Yeah. So thoughtfully collected is, again, you know, things are inspired in here from all over the world. It could be from your trips, from your travels, from things your kids collect around, and you work that in. So it doesn't, not every space in your home or everyone's home has to look like it was decorated exactly out of a magazine cover.
Yeah.
It can speak to you. It can be thoughtfully cluttered. It can be all of those kinds of things.
Because everyone's lifestyle is different. My lifestyle as a child-free person is not the same as somebody with 3 kids.
Yeah,
and you're going to want to be able to live in your spaces the way that makes you comfortable. That you spend all this time. You want to spend time there.
Exactly. Your home is hopefully where you are able to spend a lot of time and with people you care and love about. And people come in and ask me all the time. They're like, oh, does your home look like this? And I'm like, yeah, I mean, it does, just with a lot more dinosaurs and Matchbox cars littering the floor everywhere, I'm
it
like,
it's lived in.
Again, I was like, I'm not the person on the social media trend of like, look how I cleaned up every night after everyone went to bed. I'm like, nope, here's all their stuff, like mixed in with our sofa and our tabletop and blankets and our artwork. So I'm like, this is where it is.
Thank goodness though, because it shows that you're real. Like it shows that you're a real person with family and challenges like everybody else.
Yeah,
thank goodness.
Absolutely. Yeah, and people come running in here and they're like, oh, but like my kids. I'm like, my kids run in here like it is their home. So I'm like, do not be afraid. Let your kids down. They can touch. Nothing in here is attached to so much like my home. There are pieces I love, but if that is your family and your children, your pets, whatever that means to you, you're going to live your life, and that's just part of what you have in your home.
Yeah,
so
keep some Windex under your sink or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah. So
well, and you've built a really loyal customer community, and I would say not even just here in Roanoke, although that's key because you're here, but you're talking about clients and shipping, and down to Florida and across the country. So how do you this is sort of a two-parter, but how do you connect with so many people, and why do you think that they connect so strongly with your shop?
We are super lucky. I think part of that is being our location and right here downtown across from, Hotel Roanoke is a huge one, of course. And then we have the Liberty Trust and several other boutique hotels now, all popping up. We have a huge, tourism customer base, which is great. And I don't think people always realize that about Roanoke.
Shout out to Visit Virginia's Blue Ridge.
Yes, exactly. Roanoke is growing in that aspect. That is one thing that has shocked me in the 5 years of being here is how many people come in for the first time. And we're always asking, again, I'm like, so what brought you here? Like, why are you here? Like, what is it? And of course it's work or it's events, but so many now of the outdoor events, like the marathon, people visiting the lakes and the rivers and coming for mountain biking. We often find people are just like, I'm on a long road trip and we needed to break it up, and Roanoke comes up as a great place to stop.
Perfect location. Yeah.
Fantastic. I was like, that's wonderful to hear. So they're like, we're only here for a night, but like, what do we do? So we get that all the time, you guys. I think it speaks volumes for our city, and it's amazing to see that. So I think that is a huge chunk because those customers come in, they've become some of our best repeat customers. Everybody asks, they're like, oh, but like, if I buy here, can you then ship it to me? That answer is yes. We will
always yes.
Absolutely. And we'll ship it everywhere. Don't you worry. So then they come back and shop online or give us a call and, we do that kind of thing. And I think that's some of the biggest driver. Again, it is, of course, our website presence and, how hard we work on that and trying to make it look like we're maybe like a little bit more a little larger and more put together than your little small boutique here in downtown
you're totally
Roanoke.
Put together. There is no question about that. But I like that because even people who are out of town, right, they come and they find something so unique here and so special that they recall you immediately upon, do I need a gift? Do I want an extra piece in my house? So yes, you were the first person I think of because I enjoyed the first thing I found there.
Yep.
So, I love that really comes back.
Yeah.
That it's just a one-stop shop.
Yeah. At this point, we've shipped to California, Florida. We just sent a rug this week to a customer up in, I believe, like New Hampshire around or somewhere up, the Northeast after she had seen it in person and gave us a call back and we're sending that out the door. And it's, it's amazing. And I'm so appreciative of those customers.
Yeah. And then really coming back into community, people that are here in the space. I know you have repeats, you're going to community events and networking. We were just talking about an event at the Taubman you were at. Yep. So really you're creating a core group, not just of clients, but friends who are coming in and supporting your shop, not only because they love it, but because they know you and they want to support you.
Yeah, absolutely. And, and I love that part. I love being part of that downtown specific for that because I will happily recommend other shops if we don't have it here.
Which I love. I think that's really important.
Yeah, and I know other people have done that for us because customers have specifically told us that. They've walked in and said, such and such said you may have, X, Y, and Z. So I know we are creating that all up and down Main Street here, all up in this little corridor. And, not only that, but pockets of other, little shops. I always ask visitors when they're like, what is there to do? If they're looking for something, I say, well, do you have your car? What is your transportation? Because there are other little pockets of neighborhoods, from Piccadilly to, over near Crystal Spring and the Grandin area. And we're like, there are these places that may have them for you, or also just another great, whole little neighborhood with several things to do. If you have time and the means to get there, go bop around and see what they have.
I love that. And I hear that a lot from small business owners here in the area. The rising tide really does lift all ships. And I love that you're sort of recommending, because it's sort of hard to, sort of like when somebody asks me, what do you want to eat? It's like, well, you got to have to narrow it down. Is there a flavor you're going for, a price point you're going for, a neighborhood you're looking to hang out afterward, So it's not just, where do you want to shop?
Right.
It's what are you seeking today? And maybe you're not seeking anything at all. You just want to look at anything you can, there's plenty of options for that.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. There's loads of window shopping, that you can enjoy all through here and just popping in and out. And then, we have so many of the cafes and restaurants,
can't
different
be bored.
tastes.
There's no way.
Most definitely not.
So I know we talked, when you first opened your business, and I would say post-COVID, but we weren't quite at post-COVID yet. But every small business owner I know has at least one, if I've survived this, I can survive anything, challenge and memory. So not counting COVID, because I feel like that's a mass answer for all
that's like cheating. Everyone's like, thank goodness.
But, have there been any challenges or moments over the last 5 years that have really, you gone, oh my gosh, if I can survive this, I can get through anything?
Yes. And some of those I feel are, I don't know, or maybe this isn't quite there yet. I don't know. But perhaps some of the current climate has been the most challenging since COVID. I've tried to speak fairly candidly when people are asking things that 2025 and especially the latter half of 25, again, like I said, was some of the most challenging, or at least the most unstable really since we opened, and with COVID, which was very interesting. And it's just, a business like ours that thoughtfully brings so many things in from other parts of the world, we're hit very hard with tariffs, and, things around and that nature. And then on top of that, we've been hit with surcharges for all of our shipping and things. And sometimes people do ask me, well, can't you just buy more in the States? And while that's a very valid question, again, that's not purposefully what we created here. We do fair trade, we do sustainable international sourcing. We don't bring things in because we think we can get a good margin on it. We bring it in because it's a beautiful artistic piece created by amazing people from other parts of the world, and we think they deserve to be seen. Yeah,
and I'm glad you brought that up, because we did talk about that the first time you came on the podcast, about these sustainable products that are supporting, women or other groups around the world. They're making these items, and they're looking for people like you to really put them out in the universe like that.
Yeah, exactly. And we love doing that, and that is not to say that we don't do that, also locally. Because we absolutely do, and all of our artwork and things are all local artists. Some of the ceramics, paper goods, and jewelry are beautiful. We are so lucky right here in the Blue Ridge. It's amazing, the talent pool that's here. So we really want to highlight and showcase that. But I just believe in giving that opportunity to people, all over the world. You get to see their talents, their spark, their interest, and and then that creates a sustainable life for them where they are, and creates, the betterment of their community. And that's just something that's always been incredibly important to me.
Well, and on the flip side, maybe there's a really rewarding or memorable moment that you wouldn't mind sharing.
Yes.
Not counting your giant 44 by 44 painting that you shipped across the country.
Yeah. The fact that baby made it, and I was like, yes, it's stunning and perfect. It looks great there. And, this is business and personal, type of, I guess, which sums up a small business right there. Just this past Mother's Day, my now 7-year-old, he just turned 7 this past Saturday, was filling out one of those, Mother's Day sheets at school. And it was like, what is your mommy good at? And he said, store running. And I thought that was hilarious and so sweet. It's my kids know I do this. They come in, they always ask to go to market, and I'm like, y'all have no idea what that means.
I will lose you in the crowd.
Exactly, and you will not have fun. You will be over it.
It's not as fun as you think it is for a child.
But yes, exactly. But they are all playing store at home and set it up and buy and sell, and that struck me that was his first answer, was that mommy's good at running stores. And I was like, you know what, thank you. Like,
something's sinking in better than like drinking coffee, which
exactly.
I'm also very good at.
Yes, I love my coffee. He knows my order.
Yeah, very good at that.
It's like he has my order down, which is hysterical and terrible. But
just like any good store owner's kid should know,
Exactly.
Keeping you caffeinated.
So that's one of those things that it makes those days, if it's slow down here, or we have a tough day, or we've had those ups and downs in 5 years and said, are we going to make it? Would this be worth it? Is there something else I'm supposed to be doing? And I love that they get to see me do this and appreciate that. And that's one of those like professional, personal wins.
I love it.
Really
and succeed. I mean, 5 years, like I said, that's
it's no small feat.
Yeah,
and,
incredible.
And I think everyone who's been a part of that to help us, whether, like I said, you're someone who comes in when we need an extra set of hands, whether you've shopped with us or whether you just, share and support, and re-tag us on socials. Every little bit helps.
Yeah. And your kids are young. So right now, some of that stuff, I like the store running, that definitely sinks in. But some of it, they're too young to grasp some of that. But like, as they get older, they will go, how did my mom do all this? Like, how did she manage to do all this and get me to school on time?
Fantastic question. Yeah, I'm usually running around like a crazy
Well,
person.
we were just talking about like your schedule because of all the, again, it's mid-May, so we're coming up on kindergarten graduations and notices and awards and all that.
Things.
Like, and you're making it to everything. So again, thanks to your team. Thanks, Abigail.
A huge shout out to my team when I have these ridiculous, crazy weeks.
Yeah.
Couldn't do it without everybody. Also, shout out to my nanny, Charlotte. With 3 young kids, we can't do it without all the systems, and she has been with us almost 2 years, and she's fantastic.
Invaluable. But I love that so much, and that you have such a good support system.
Yeah. If you have to do the things. We can do all of the things, but that doesn't mean we have to do all the things alone.
Ooh.
You just need good friends, good team.
I need you to tattoo that on my arm, please. That's a good one. I like that. Well, and thinking about WyndRose again, because I could talk about you and your family all day and like how you managed to do all the things. But, you're carrying such an eclectic mix of home decor, gifts, art, lifestyle pieces. Curious about, not trendy necessarily, but what are your customers really gravitating towards right now? And again, it's mid-May, so maybe that's seasonal. Maybe it's thinking more about things for myself and not for gifts for others. But
we have had a touch, of course, of seasonal because it's Mother's Day, graduations, birthdays, weddings, all the things. So our customers right now have been loving some of our like mix and match. And again, sorry for those. Come in and shop. You can see them a little bit here.
Yep.
But like our mix and match taper candles of these colors,
which are so
sold
cute
in boxes or some individually. People have been loving those, and I think they're great first home gifts. Again, they're great wedding gifts that graduate with that first home. Those have been a big ones. A lot of our smaller gift items right now that have again been the great ones are some Virginia focused fair trade pieces that we have. That highlight the state shape and all that. Again, they've been great for grads, easy little pickups people are getting. Honestly, tooth fairy pillows have taken off. People adore those for their kids.
My best friend's kid just did lose his first tooth, so that's really tracking.
I'll point those out to you. Again, my 7-year-old has the little monster style ones. They're adorable. They're fair trade, hand sewn. They have a little pocket in the back. You slip that tooth and slip the whole pillow in underneath. So we have ones that look like monsters, one that look like little fairies and ballerinas.
Oh, wow.
So something for everybody. And when we brought those in, that was again, then we just keep reordering them because people come in and are like, oh, how different. I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, absolutely. So
well,
there you go.
And that really segs well into the next question because, you clearly have an eye for unique details or pieces. And so when you're curating items for your shop, I was curious about like what catches your eye or you think, yes, customers will love this while also expecting some surprise from things like Monster Tooth Fairy.
Right.
Suitcases.
I wish I had the best crystal clear answer for that because if so, we would, triple sales and quadruple the floor space. No, but I'm kidding. That is one of the most interesting and challenging pieces because we see stuff that I'm like, I adore this. will anyone else adore this?
Right. I love it.
It's so unique.
Yeah.
And we are unique and we want unique. And I'm like, is that too unique? Is anyone else going to like this?
Right.
And sometimes the piece that we think is going to fly out the door, we live with for a little while, and that's fine.
You'll admire it for a bit then.
Oh yeah.
No problem.
Exactly. That is one of the funniest things when you get to a point where perhaps maybe a piece finally finds it home, and we both go, oh, but I really liked it. I was kind of missing it now. It was like, I just assumed maybe that would come live with me eventually. Like we run out of space, and I was like, oh, that's sold.
That it sounds like your foster failure right there.
Yes,
what that reminds me of.
Yes, that's a great analogy because I'm like, clearly we are in the business of selling beautiful things.
How do you not buy your own stuff all the time though?
It's so hard. Truly. And Ben's like, that's a horrible business model. Stop bringing things home.
Don't buy it.
Yeah. The artwork's the hardest. The art, we work with so many amazing artists. They walk something in the door and I'm like, I love this piece.
Yeah.
And he's like, that's not how you stay in business.
We have no more wall space.
Stop it. Yeah. And he's like, you can't do this. Don't bring more art home. And I'm like, maybe a little more.
But just a little bit.
Just a few other pieces.
It'll fit right there.
Exactly. Yeah, so that's when it's the funniest, or when something we're like, oh, we'll just try this, and it sells in 2-3 days. And I'm like, we hit the gold mine.
I mean,
just do that every single time.
That's so curious to me because I worked in retail, 100 years ago, and some things I'm thinking that'll never move, and then next thing you know, they're all gone. I'm like, I mean, great, good problem to have, but how?
But yeah, you were like, that was where that went.
Yeah, okay, and it's just sort of, and again, or the piece that you think is just going to fly out the door. It's like, well, I'll be happy to look at this for a little bit until somebody does take it home.
Exactly.
But it's just how do you? So I like that. It sort of sounds like it starts with your own personal.
It does.
Do I like it? Does it fit with what I'm trying to really, be part of my store?
Yes.
Identity.
For us, especially, I think that's our biggest guiding beacon. Of course, it's fitting in, with our pillars and, our pieces.
Right. And can it fit physically?
And can it fit physically? Yes. We now joke. We're like, let's remeasure because we are bad at that. Which don't let that scare you. We can still help you decorate, but just. Wow. We're like this. Our eyes are bigger than our floor space sometimes.
Just like I eat pizza.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yes, right? Yeah. You're like, I can have that last slice. It's going to be fine. But
I'm sure I won't regret that at all.
Yeah, I know. And, but that's part of wraps into where I hope to see us go, is being able to do more of those pieces.
Yeah, I think that's great. And I think I'm going to get you a tape measure that hooks onto your belt at all times.
Right? Please. Yeah. Abigail will probably love that because we have 3 or 4 and I leave them everywhere. And she's like, I have a space for them. What did you do with them? And
I'm get like a ruler tattooed on you and that way you just always know.
That would probably just be easy. Yes. I'm like, I don't know. I've left it here or there. Or a customer could come in and they're like, someone left a phone. I'm like, nope, that's just mine.
Don't worry about that.
Because I treat this place now like my house. And I'm like, don't mind me. I just leave things places. I'm very sorry.
Well, you know what? You're the owner. You can do what you want. So, being in the shop, it feels so personal. I can wander around here. Literally, it's a beautiful space, but it's not like the Todman size, but I could still be in here for hours because you have, all these little pieces that I could just stare at all day. Mm-hmm. So, when you're thinking about people who are going to come into your shop and you really need to create that atmosphere, like what's most important to you when you're thinking about how you want customers to feel when they walk in here?
Truthfully, comfort.
That's a good one.
We really do, mean that. And so I mean it when people walk in and they're like, I have my bags, I have my kids, I have this stroller. And I'm like, that's all fine. Mm-hmm. It's life. Like, please come in. And we try to curate the spaces, in ways that you could envision it in your home. Like, here's how this sofa actually does fit with an ottoman, or coffee table, how we set this table. We often have people come in and ask us, they're like, okay, so is this like one artist, for example, represented in this corner and a different artist over here? And I'm like, no, we blend everyone kind of together because that's how it would be in your home. You wouldn't necessarily, set your home just by exactly where you bought a piece.
Right. That's true.
So we try to do the same thing. It's like, where would you set a candle like right on top of books? Somebody might. Here we go. So that's what we want it to feel like. Like each little corner feels like it could be a vignette in your home.
Do you come to people's houses?
Yes.
Do you?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I might need to get signed up for that.
we would be happy to.
Well, like we're always talking about, my husband and I were talking about, we need a great piece of local art because, we have some wall space. Pictures are kind of starting to fade. So, what can we replace that with? We really want local art. And so I think that's very interesting that you're like, you know what? If you can't figure out if it's going to fit, I'll come to you and figure out if it's going to work.
Absolutely.
You're really their own interior designer.
Oh, yeah. And, we offer the opportunity for anyone local, especially for those larger pieces, to take something on approval. You have to see it in your space. Like, you may love a piece, and I hope it works for you, but you don't want to purchase something and realize it's not the right size.
Ask me how I know.
Or it's not bright enough or something. So when it's an investment for you and something you want to have for a long time, make sure it works. We will happily, help you get it home, try it out for a couple days or two, live with it, make sure that's yours.
I love that. Because you're not always, I'm sure you are working with plenty of clients who are moving into their home and they're trying to start from scratch. But then you also have someone like me who's been there for 15 years and is just trying to do one piece and not a whole room.
Exactly.
And so I love that you're able to kind of, does this work in this space? Yes, fantastic. Or I think I need something else. Let me see what Rachelle's got for me.
Exactly. Absolutely. Happy to do that.
Well, so after 5 years in business, what keeps you motivated and excited? And I feel like you've kind of answered this in little bits and pieces, but I'm just curious, when you think about this, what gets me up and moving for the day?
Yes. So what gets me up and
besides
moving,
your 3 kids, who I'm probably sure ready for breakfast.
Say the children and all the coffee. So once I get past that part, I'd love to see what's new. I love, a big portion of that, again, are artists. When they have something inspiring or new, or finding that new artist who's looking for a place to show their art maybe for the first time. We have a lot of those. I find that so inspiring. Our repeat customers and clients who come in who are just like, we love seeing what's new, we love coming back. And again, that's the people maybe also from the tourism side who are like, every time we're in Roanoke, we come by to see you, or we only do an annual trip here, but we always come here and come to see you now. And that's one of the milestones of hitting 5 years is now we have those peoples, we have those relationships, and it's great. So that is part of what, is again, that reassuring feeling of we are on the right track. We are doing something. People, want to see what we have to offer. And so that motivates me to think, what can we keep doing? And maybe what does the future hold for what WyndRose would look like? And,
well, that's my next question. So why don't you just ask yourself that one too? Shoot.
I know. Where do I want to be? Let's say.
Truthfully, is there anything exciting that you're thinking about? And, you don't have to commit to anything in this question, but, when you think about the next 5 years, what do you think that looks like? What would you want it to look like?
I know. It's so hard to fathom because, again, 5 years ago, we were rolling out of COVID and I had 1 child. Now we're 5 years in and I have 3 kids and all the things. So I'm like, what could possibly the next 5 years bring? Maybe some stability.
More caffeine, you know.
No, it is a goal of mine, a dream of mine to see the store grow. And some of that I do, maybe mean physically if there's a right space and right time. Of course, we love, nobody get nervous. We love the downtown area and all the things. Right. We're so happy here. Again, we get so many great clients, all those kinds of great things. But just trying to think of how we could continue to expand either our services, the beautiful things we find, finding those new outlets, finding those new vendors, new countries that we haven't, supported before, and what sort of that looks like. Right. And, can I keep buying oversized pieces?
Always
that we find to get in here.
Always, yes. But also, you're doing your website, so you're selling through there. So there's another great avenue of building without necessarily leaving the space right now if you're not prepared for that. So that makes sense.
No, absolutely. Any more. And the website has grown over the years, which, has been another fantastic indicator of some of our reach. Sure. Our repeat customers. And again, it's noisy out there, so we appreciate every one of those people that share it, tag it, purchase from it. It's,
watch your 10-second reel that took you 3 days to build. It's
right.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. If anyone has tips, let me know. But otherwise, I just keep putting it out there to see how it goes.
Well, so before we sign off in a couple seconds, I wanted to ask for a small business dreamer.
Yes.
What would your advice be to them if they're looking to do what you do in whatever capacity that means to them?
Yeah. I think you have to just go for it. You have to try it. And that doesn't necessarily have to mean big. Sometimes people think, you have to secure the space right away, or something like that. You have to grow it organically, and that's still going to be, it can still be pretty challenging, but don't get discouraged with that part. Don't get discouraged with those first couple of years. Just grow yourself as you are safely able to, and if that means to start small, but it's worth starting, and it's worth trying, whether that's a business for a year, 5 years, you make it to that 10 plus, or it continues to stay a side business that you love, and that you can find your creative outlet in. I think that's what matters the most.
I like that. There's joy in that too, even if it's not necessarily as big as you might have planned originally. Or if it's growing even more exponentially than you thought possible in your case. So before we go, where can listeners shop, follow along online, and stay up to date with everything at WyndRose Boutique, knowing I will also list these on the website with the podcast episode?
Yes, thank you so much. So yes, our website is WyndRoseBoutique.com. We are on Instagram. We do the Facebook, WyndRose Roanoke. So you can do all those things. You can sign up on our email list. We don't bombard you a lot because, again, that's us, all internal. So it's when I remember I haven't emailed anyone in like days, weeks, months, and I'm like,
oh, right, newsletter.
I should send something out. So all of those things. And yeah, come see us downtown, 23 Salem Avenue, right here on the market.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining us today
Thank
and
you.
for sharing more about your store. Reaching 5 years in a business is such an incredible accomplishment, and just so proud to have you being here as a pillar of the community in downtown Roanoke, not only in terms of being a community member, but, a business owner, a busy mom, all the things that make you such unique and qualified to do what you do. So thank you
so much.
Appreciate
Always so
you.
fun.
Oh, and obviously it's clear WyndRose Boutique is so much more than just shopping, right? It's confidence, connection, and community. And you're gonna love it when you come in here, guys. I'm telling you, you're gonna spend just days looking at all the colors. I'm just obsessed with all the colors. Gray is just out of my life now. It's all about color. And so again, to our listeners, be sure to visit WyndRose Boutique, WyndRoseBoutique.com. Support local and follow along for all the latest styles, events, and treasures you're gonna find. As always, thank you for listening to this episode, and stay tuned for more conversations highlighting the people, places, and stories shaping our region. Until next time, this has been From Print to Podcast, where print comes to life one great story at a time.